wow moment, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with you as always. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and an open heart to your listening experience, and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality. While listening, you will be exposed to inspiring, empowering, and unifying perspectives that I'm highly confident will yield stellar results in your life if you opt to try them on for size. Also, if you're a longtime P-Head listener, you know I have been diligently working on producing episodes for my new late-night style, consciousness-elevating video talk show, Optimistic. Well, after a year plus in the making, I am thrilled to announce that we will be releasing Season 1's episodes weekly beginning March 15th, and I'm asking for your help to spread the love and to let your friends and family know about Optimistic when it's released. In exchange for taking a minute to share our Episode 1 teaser video on March 15th, or whenever you're hearing this, up through the end of April, we're giving you monthly memberships to not one, but two consciousness-expansive online content portals from two of my very favorite teachers and healers that are valued at over $50 a month, as well as entering your name into a drawing to win a free week at the Mystic Manor for a retreat immersion valued at $2,950, where the winner will be chosen in April. Otherwise, if you're interested in hearing more details about the rewards you'll receive for supporting, we'll send you a video that goes into detail when you text the word Mystic to the number 22999. You can also go to optimistic.tv to see several other videos, including the Optimistic show trailer and two videos that discuss the week-long retreat immersion, as well as details of what the Mystic Manor immersion entails and how you can book a week to come stay with us even if you don't win the raffle. All right, all you positive heads, here we grow again. So grateful to be back with you guys as always. You probably guessed it by now, I'm not alone. I have three lovely ladies here with me in the studio at the Mystic Manor who have been brave enough to experience whatever the heck it is that's going on here in this vortex of magic, mystery, and transformation. Hello, ladies. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
I wanted to see how long I could just be quiet and stare at you until someone did anything. I felt like it might have went a long time, so I'll go ahead and break the silence. So these shows, if you guys are just tuning in, like I'm sure someone out there, it's your first time ever even hearing this show. So we spend a week here at the Mystic Manor, in Venice, California, and it's workshops and different, last night there was a Cairo yoga event, or there's cacao ceremony sometimes, or, people, Lisa, you did a QHHT session yesterday, which I'm excited to hear about. And basically people have been coming since July, spending a full week here, and it has been absolutely incredible for me and those of us sort of holding the container and helping to co-create the experience. We have chef-prepared meals throughout the week, and so essentially it's a retreat center, and also where I live, and it's been so cool, this journey. And so the idea of these Friday episodes is these guys have been here since Monday. They'll be here until Sunday, so we're partway through, 2/3 of the way through. And just to kind of give them the microphone, the opportunity to share a little bit about their week and what they've been up to, and and anything that's bubbling up, in your hearts and minds that you want to share while you have the microphone. Now's your chance to do it. So that's what today's episode is all about. Who is feeling brave enough, Lisa, to go first and share a little bit about your week so far?
Well, thank you, Brandon. So it's really interesting to be in the mothership. I've been listening to the podcasts as my morning routine to get away from looking at the news and the email and so forth. I put on the podcast, and it's led me to other podcasts and so forth. And getting here, I'm in like ground zero of not only what I've heard and what has been talked about and what I believe, but I was excited to be in this laboratory.
That's a good way to put it.
Right? It's a laboratory. It's a grand experiment of embodying or walking the talk. A lot of the things, the tools and techniques that we talk about or that I listen to or hear about are, out in the world and what have you, but not a lot of people are living it every moment of every day.
Yeah.
And that's what I see happening here. So it was exciting for me to be here and see how that actually unfolds. Mm-hmm. How does that manifest? How do this many people live in a place peacefully?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
There's little to no drama. I can't say no drama, but it's been little to no drama.
Yeah. So, and that's apparent. And then it opened up this heart flow. Not head flow, heart flow. And you really, I felt that when I walked onto the property. But the energy for me, the energy here is very fluid. Mm-hmm. And I think what the tools are doing for me and for a lot of people I've talked to who are living here is grounding that fluidity. Mm-hmm. So because we need it grounded right now.
Yes.
We need it individually grounded. We need to be really in our center. I call it being on the beam of. I
like that.
Yeah, just solidly knowing there's only one of us here.
Yes.
And that, my ego wants to take me in all different kinds of places and spaces, but in fact, that's the beam. Yeah. And when I'm there, I'm acting out of a heart of love more often than out of judgment ego.
Yes.
Which is all based on fear.
Yeah.
So this has just been this place to be in that.
Yeah.
Really be in that and not have to kind of think my way to it. So, wow.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I talked about this a few days ago where it's so easy for people, I think, to get lost in sort of, once you start having any sort of a, expanded perspective, awakened consciousness, spiritual awakening, to get lost in the ethers, right? And everything becomes very floaty and very head in the clouds kind of energy. And we were talking about how important it is to really ground that into, we are still in physicality. We're not orbs floating and teleporting across non-physical, no time and space. So how do we ground a lot of these expanded perspectives into, a new way to navigate 3D reality? And so I think the laboratory is a great word. Like, how do we move more into that flow state and all come together and grow and expand together in that way?
Right. And we need to, what I've noticed is in our American culture and world culture, I have to acknowledge where we are.
Yeah.
We are in a collective. We are in a place. My work is visioning a better place. So I'm not caught in just the fear and the control and all of those things that we're all subject to.
Yeah.
In fact, but to hold a bigger vision, to hold a better place, a higher energy, sort of, you talk about Abraham being in the vibration of the vortex.
Yep.
Where miracles and amazing things can happen. Synchronicities happen when I'm there, when I'm in that energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is, you're doing it.
We're doing it.
You're doing it here, right? Yeah, and then we're creating it together.
Yeah.
The three of us that were here this week is interestingly the maiden, the mother, and the crone.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's really interesting how that kind of came together. So we were really able to play with this and experience each other's unfolding from three different generations.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, which has been fascinating.
That is really cool. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That is three. A lot of times people end up and it's like, oh, they're the same. They just happen to be the same, generation. And this is perfectly yeah.
Wow. That's been something that's really hit me is that we've all come together and each one of us has got something to give to the other person. And the synchronicity that we had when we first arrived. So I came into my room, I opened a door, and it went straight through to Ellie's room. And I was like, oh, hi.
This is Bex speaking, by the way. We didn't say that. Just so you can put a voice with a, wisdom.
And then the synchronicities out of that.
So I'm originally from Mansfield in the UK. Ellie is from Mansfield in the US. We're both Virgos.
Yep.
We're both empaths. What were we had so many. we can't even remember them because we're so similar. And then we invite Lisa into the gang as well, who has all of this wisdom.
So much wisdom.
So much wisdom, and so easily disseminated to us. And I hope that we're giving something back to you as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we're like, oh my gosh, it's like a happy witch trio.
Am I in a coven right now? Is that what's happening?
We weren't supposed to tell it.
Yeah, it feels like we're all perfectly paired and we all have different talents and different things that we all bring together. And I feel like we really balance each other. It's been awesome.
Very, very cool. And before we continue on, I'd like to take a quick moment to announce to you guys that we have a new sponsor of the Positive Head podcast, Mack Weldon. As you guys know, I've been very selective about sponsors over the years, only working with a select few that I truly align with. So when Mack Weldon first reached out to me about sponsoring Positive Head, and I saw that they were claiming to make intelligently designed men's basics such as underwear, socks, t-shirts, sweatpants, made from premium fabrics that are also super comfy, I was intrigued. The reason being is because the running joke in my family my whole life has been that you will never see me in anything that isn't super cozy, which, if you ask my mom, has led to many, many embarrassing fancy restaurant dinners with me wearing old sweatpants. So I was intrigued enough that I ordered 4 items to try them out. And when I received them, I knew I had instantly found a new favorite go-to for my basics. My mom is going to be ecstatic to hear their claim that their Ace sweatpants are a modern upgrade for your favorite sweatpants. It's a totally legitimate claim. They are definitely way more comfy and stylish than my old ones, and I've never looked better at dinner. I intend personally to order them in every color, and of course, since they are super high quality, they do cost a little more than your Walmart standard basics. However, luckily for all UP heads, they are giving all Positive Head listeners 20% off when you go to mackweldon.com and use the code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word. That's spelled MACKWELDON.com. I highly recommend trying them out or ordering them for your partner or spouse. You have my 111% guarantee that your mother or mother-in-law will thank you profusely at the next family dinner. So I'm curious, and I don't know, you can say no or not, it's too much or whatever, but I've been really curious ever since I saw you walk out, Lisa, of your QHHT session with Mary Beth yesterday. You had the look of wow. And so I've been really interested to hear a little sneak peek into what your experience was like, and I figured if you're up for it, now might be a cool place to do it.
Yeah, there's parts of it certainly I can talk about, other parts that I'm still not clear. So let those simmer and brew. But, Mary Beth was great in helping me open up the possibility of QHHT. She said it's not always past life. It can be something else. And to trust that your higher power, your subconscious, your spirit, your soul, whatever is that animating force will take you to the right place.
And by the way, guys, QHHT is quantum healing hypnosis technique. And so, yeah, it's like a guided experience where you may go into a past life, you may go into a future life, you may just connect with your higher self. So many things can happen, right?
Yeah. So based on the work of Dolores Cannon.
Right, that's right.
She was amazing in my hypnosis, has, quote, worked for me because I'm so locked into left brain.
Me too. Same thing.
Yeah. But she somehow worked me to a different place. And while, as an example, while I thought I was aware of everything that was going on, when she said, well, how long do you think that was? And I went, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. And it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's probably even more that I'm not aware of besides time went into this whole other field.
Right.
Yeah. So I touched into a probable past life but I was also out in some other realms and it was transformative.
Wow.
It was truly transformative, and I was given some new archetypes, symbols to start to work with and integrate, and some validations, questioning, what about this, what about that? So those validations came in a very, very strong way. It was amazing. And then I also was able to connect heart to heart with Mary Beth. In that, interestingly, we have a lot of similarities,
right,
in our paths and our lives and so forth. So that soul to soul sharing was so lovely.
Yeah.
That was, to be, and I saw that also with Sam. Everybody, but we worked closely with Sam, and that's Samantha Lotus.
Yeah, how was that?
Yeah. So she has a way of seeing in, not just and you can I saw to be able to share with her like anything, and there was no judgment. It was just opportunity.
Yeah.
Very gentle.
Yeah.
Gentle energy.
I like that's interesting to hear that because Sam can be so strong. So gentle is not always the first word I think of with Sam, although she is always very, the way she will word things is like you said, I see you, I feel what you're, totally honoring and acknowledging where you're at.
Right.
And then she's normally really strong behind that.
I think strong shows up there by she doesn't let the opportunity of being able to follow a thread in.
Yeah.
She doesn't let that go by.
Yes, right.
I may want to, I don't want to deal with that.
Yep.
And she catches it, and then, let's just take a look, and go deeply into that, and see some, some opportunity. That's what those. I don't see anything that we've done as being difficult. Just really deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Authentic.
Right.
Grounding, and then new opportunity of understanding. Being able to take the tools, new tools. I think we've all gotten new tools to work with, and take that into full integration so that it's easier. I get knocked off the beam. I'm in this culture. But it's now down to how quickly can I get back stable in reality, the reality of who's really driving the bus here. Is my higher self, my soul, telling my ego what to do, and then the ego is, negotiating the 3D world to make that happen.
Right.
Or am I flipped back around? And that's practicing that.
Yeah.
In a place where people are practicing that.
Yeah.
Is the perfect reflection. So in the House of Mirrors, this is the kind of mirrors I want to be in.
Yes, right. Oh, I like that. Wow, you got that's a beautiful reflection, actually, pun intended. For me, one of the things that I just want to throw out is that's been the most challenging about it, because as you guys can see, I'm sort of holding so much and so many things with focused on, recording the podcast or launching Optimistic and all the things. So one of my big always concerns is like, I wish I had more time and space. We spend all day together today, but up until this point, it's like we're having meals together and we're dropping in here and there, but it's like, not getting to spend as much time as my perfect vision of it would be. However, I also know how much amazing support and energy there is here, and that is, designed to be here. And I've really set the intention for the space itself to be energetically transformative. Like, you're just walking into the field. It's kind of like a distortion field, or maybe distortion's not the good word, but,
distraction field.
Yeah, an altered field from a normal, you step into the container of the Mystic Manor and it's like, oh, hold on, like there's something energetically going on here. And so I hope that has all been doing its work the whole time, because there's been a lot of intention put into that being the case.
Something that I really felt, we've done so much work with Sam, and we did work with Petra and Hannah and Everett, and so many other people have stepped in, but there's been nothing which has been superfluous to this experience. And that goes for the minute that I walked in the door, I met Ian, and it was just a
chef.
hi, but even that, every little meeting with guests who dropped by, the neighbour who dropped in, every little thing has given something to the experience. And I actually think that waiting those few days to really thoroughly get to chat with you, Brandon, is a really good thing because it really grounds us into the whole place before we meet the big man.
Yeah. Is that what they're calling me these days?
Yeah, that's right.
I thought
right on the street.
I always introduce myself as the janitor.
Yes.
I always loved that when I had my company a while back, my travel company, and I had at its peak, 100 plus employees. And the more there was, the more I was just like, I'm not really into, like, if you guys go to the YouTube, the Optimistic YouTube page, if you search We Are Optimistic, there's like a intro video and showing like all the younglings, as I call them, like documenting some of the things happening here. And when they were putting it together, they introduced me. They're like, and then there's Brandon, the CEO. And I'm like, I didn't catch it until after they released it. I'm like, I'm so not into titles. Yeah. And I'm like, I always introduce myself as the janitor. At my last company, who are you here? Oh, I'm the janitor. Yeah. That feels cooler.
It's appropriate.
It feels cooler. Up. Yeah, right. There's some truth to that.
There's truth to that.
Aw.
And can I just say, it's super surreal just seeing you walk around. I'm like, I have to do a double take. I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
so
you're really here.
There's a voice.
Awesome.
The voice has a face.
I know.
And legs.
And he needs to take a shower now. What I always say to that for people, because I think for a lot of people it's surreal. Especially if they've been listening, like last week's guest. Shout out Jen has listened to all 1,200 and whatever episodes it's at, And so like to hear someone that much for that long and it's all one-sided, what I always say is like whatever the show is represented to you energetically, I'm a prop in your movie. You're in your own private YO universe. So if you've now manifested me talking back to you two-way and sitting next to you at dinner and like, going on a hike together today or whatever, then it's you calling in more of what the show's represented, and what it represents in your world, you're getting closer to, right? So that's the sort of way I view it, yeah.
But it's a great example of having it, owning it, being it, so that you can give it.
Yep.
And you're showing us an example of how to give and support people's walk in this world in a new way, in a new vision, in a new energy. You're actually an experience of it. Whether that's just in the podcast or in with the TV show when it comes out, however that expresses in the individual, you're giving them the platform to be able to live differently.
Yeah.
And then play with the magic.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, it was through you and the podcast that I started listening to Abraham, and I've listened to Durek, Shaman Durek, and so forth, and it just has opened up this magical vista of synchronicity, and that's fun. It's like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah,
it's just
it really is like a scavenger hunt, isn't it?
Yeah. What's going to happen today?
So, who here has something that has been bubbling up in your own journey? As I like to put it, what's most alive for you now? What is your latest sort of breakthrough or aha moment? Something that you could have picked up here. It's something you could have been, dealing with, at home. What is if you have, the captive audience here of, once again, reflections of you who not all are going to have the opportunity to sit on this side of the microphone. What feels most exciting and powerful for you to share currently in your own journey?
So I'm not really clear how I ended up here. I kind of, a bit like if you've seen the film With Nail and I, and they go on holiday by accident. It's a little bit like that, me ending up here. What
film?
With Nail and I.
Oh, I don't think I have.
Very funny. Very funny movie. And I kind of ended up here by accident. And I ended up here, and I was kind of like a little fairy who was really excited, but really kind of shy and being really small and sort of locked in a little flower bud. But I decided that I'd just be here. Something told me to come here. And as soon as I walked in the door, I felt like every single minute I've been here, a petal has been stripped back. And I feel as though this whole experience has just opened the flower, and I'm so much more sitting in my power just by being around people who trust in me and validate me, validating myself, which has been an amazing experience, which I don't know if I could have got it on my own just listening to the podcast. I think this has really accelerated the whole process, but doing all of the inner work with moving emotions with Sam, and the playfulness with Petra, which was just amazingly giggly and fun. And I feel as though this whole experience has just opened up like a massive sunshine coming through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think there's no, in a day and age where we have audiobooks and podcasts and more programming and television and things than ever before, media being served up to us so easily in our pockets, which is absolutely wonderful and such a catalyst for true awakening on the planet, I believe. There's no replacing, saying, okay, I'm diving into a container with a bunch of other people whose focus is to, experience an opening, a blooming of those petals, and transformation is. I'm going to a place whose vision is to create a transformational vortex with a bunch of other people whose heart and minds are focused on how do I create more transformation in my world. So you put all those things together in a soup bowl and start stirring it up. It's like, even the Bible, it's like where I think it says where 2 or more are gathered in my name, I'll be there. So we're sort of doing that in a sense, like we're creating this bowl of delicious soup. Everyone comes in, and the sum is greater than the equal parts. And so I think that's a big part. There is no. I remember when Sandra Wolter was on, one of my favorite repeating guests, she talked about that. She's like, there's no replacing being in physical proximity with others who are, on the path. And it's showing you even here what it can look like. What can the future more? I think the future is going to be so much more communal. I think we're meant to be these communal beings. And meanwhile, we've had this unnatural, flow for thousands of years where we've just gotten more unnatural, where it's like, let me put myself in a square box, even though circles are more natural. Let put myself in a square box. I don't even know who's in the square box next to me. I don't wave or say anything. I just go to my car and go to the job to come so that I can pay for the square box to come back to, and just do this on repeat. And once you start creating a container for true community and true support, where everyone realizes there's only one of us in the room, there's something special that happens,
Absolutely. Sorry, Lisa. Just to finish what I was saying, the reason I got here by accident is kind of because I followed that feeling of excitement and fear, that mix of those two emotions, and I think that's another one of my really big lessons is to just do it. Just get amongst it. Yeah.
I love analogies, so using the soup analogy. What's different here than, say, I will just say generically an intentional community, is that it's a bunch of individuals with their skill sets that are different, that are working mastery in their individual calling area, whether that's yoga or breath work or EFT or card reading and channeling, or they're becoming masters in each of those and retaining that mastery, but being in the soup to create this new thing. So a soup out of one ingredient is just stone soup. It's not very interesting.
Right.
But when you put all of the ingredients together, like you say, you have something bigger than the individual parts.
Yep.
So in our everything's in evolution in my mind.
Yeah.
and we're coming out of hyper individualism.
Separation mentality.
Exactly. But that's a good thing because we can see the contrast. And then how do I respect the individual expression and put it into the soup to create a greater community?
I tell you who does that really, really well, and that's Ian, the chef, who makes amazing food, which altogether is an explosion for the senses. But you can taste every little individual bit in it.
Right.
Well done, Ian.
Yes, he is definitely masterful and getting more so. You know, I feel.
Yeah. It's a good analogy.
Yeah.
So I see that as evolutionary. It's not all or nothing. It's a flow. It's an evolution. And as people are honoring the individualism, but not my way or the highway kind of thinking. And opening up to that individual contribution is exactly as it's supposed to be. Then community can start to really work.
Yeah. Absolutely. Woo. I love these. These are so fun for me. Like to get to drop in with you guys. Is there anything, as we sort of start winding down a little bit, is there anything that's coming up for any of the three of you that you haven't said that you would like to say, that you would like to share?
I would just like to say that this whole thing has really been a stretch for me, and
you're so young coming here. It takes an extra bit of bravery.
Right. And
as a 19-year-old, right?
19, yeah. So working with Sam, I've told the old stories in my life of I'm socially anxious and I can't do certain things, just very much downplaying myself. And just working with her, she really gets deep with you and she sees you like genuinely. So that was very profound for me, and just waking up the next day and feeling a relief, like I'm accepted and valued.
And more than enough. That's the irony of any of that, And I think it's a rite of passage to some degree, for all of us. I think back to 19, I've even watched my son, over the last few years. He just turned 21, and how much his confidence has grown in 2 years, like leaps and bounds.
Right.
And so I think it's a part of like, as you're, it's a teenage years. That's like a wobbly time. It's like, am I an adult? Am I a kid? What am I? What's happening? All these hormones, all these, my brain's still not fully developed. And, then I'm growing and expanding spiritually too, and understanding, it's like, it's this moving target. Yeah. So I got to say that, is calm, cool, collected, peaceful, as good as your energy feels to be around at 19, like you're probably light years ahead of where all three of us were at 19. So you're doing really, really good.
Yeah.
You should be proud.
So you like synchronized stories?
No, I don't. I'm not into cool stories at all. I prefer to go to the mall and
there were too many to even remember on my journey here to the Los Angeles area. But one that I like a lot is, ever since you had the podcast about the angel frequency of 444, I've been seeing it show up. It's like I'm noticing it and what have you. My airplane was supposed to land at 5:01. It landed at 444.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Wow.
Thank you.
You know what's funny about that is, so Mia, who was a former guest in October, now is here helping with a lot of the video related editing and so forth, and just a lot of things around she has 444 tattooed on her. Well, I think the day you got here is the day that she flew out. As you're flying, because she went to Envision Festival, so she's not. You guys aren't getting to meet her this week, but so. As 1444 was leaving, another one was coming. And I think the last time when she flew to come stay permanently, her flight got changed and was 444 when she landed, if I'm recalling correctly. So,
Those are the fun confirmations.
Yeah. So fun.
It's just like, oh, nice.
Yep,
okay.
wink.
Thank you, angels.
A little wink.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I decided to take the leap of faith, I started seeing 111, 222, all of that. I'm like, wow. Okay, this is meant for me.
Yeah. And of course, I'm sure I told you about the 111 story, of how when I first when I first decided to do these retreats, I just put it out there on the podcast and said, hey guys, let me know if you're interested. And once I have the details, I'll reach out. And so people started just email me, hey, put me on the list, let me know when you have more details. And then a few months later, once I did, I went to go email everyone on that list, and there was 111 people on it. The cool thing is over the course of the year, there's 111 spots here at the Mystic Manor. So that's when I decided, like, oh my gosh, I got to do calls with people and, do whatever I can to ensure whoever wants to be here can be here. And yeah, I mean, if any of you guys out there have wanted to come, there's been quite a few who, I've talked to over since last July, many of which who figure out a way to make it happen with their schedule or the financial aspect of it or whatever. But a big barrier for some people has been, even though, it's relatively inexpensive compared to, I went to a retreat that was $15,000 that someone gifted me not too long ago. It's $29.50 for the week here currently, but it's only even that's a lot of money still to a lot of people, and I get it. And so one of the things that we've just decided to do, because March and April are some of the least traveled dates, we've decided to sort of pair you guys up, if you help find a roommate for you so you can get it cheaper. So we've not only reduced the price only for March and April, don't get too excited beyond that, because we couldn't sustain if we kept doing it, most likely, but we've decided to, with the remaining spots, and we still have some in both March and April, $1,333 for the week. And then we pair you up with, you couldn't rent a place like this for that, much less vegan prepared meals throughout the week that are amazing, and all the workshops and the experience. So if you guys are interested in that, I announced it last week, and quite a few of the spots are gone, and but there is still some left. You can schedule a call by going to calendly.com/mystic deal and talk to one of the elves over here about, coming and figuring out your dates and all that stuff. And there'll be a link in the show notes as well that you can click to schedule that call. But highly recommend it. I think you guys highly recommend it.
Absolutely.
And
that's in my head. I've got do it.
Well, in this case, you get paired up with someone, and each room has ability to sleep two people. Whoever you end up with is someone that you're meant to grow from interact, just like you three. And up here, every time, whoever you end up with, it's like, you can see how and why they ended up at the same time. So, that's a big part of, all relationship and connection is about an opportunity for growth, and the universe will not miss its opportunity to coordinate such a thing for anyone who shows up here. So, and what you're getting. If someone's coming to a retreat here, it's not, you're probably not going to get the a-hole who, they're probably not listening to Positive Head. So, the guests have been so amazing. It's been such a beautiful experience. I so appreciate all of you for co-creating this. It wouldn't be happening without you. So thank you, all of you, for doing this.
Thank you.
It's been such an amazing growth edge for me too. And is there anything that you guys want to share before we say goodbye and go on our little adventure?
I just want to say a shout out to my mom. I promised her that I was going to shout her out, and my boyfriend, and my family, and my friends, and Tammy, if you're listening.
Hi, all of you.
Yes,
I'm
everyone.
Shouting out too.
Yeah, me too. Love you. Love you loads.
Thank you for supporting her to, empower her to be here with us, because what a gem.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
All right, everyone. With that being said, thank you, as always, for tuning in. I love you all so, so much. Until next time, journey well. And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat-style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talkwithbrandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.